Our mission trip started in Denver on the 22nd of July. We arrived in Anchorage, Alaska on the 23rd at about 2 o'clock in the morning. We made our way to the hotel, and here we are gathering in the hotel lobby the first night. There were people from all over the country, Atlanta, Georgia, Florida, Arizona, Nevada, Chicago, Illinois, and Indiana. It was a mixed group, and this was the first time that we all saw each other in person. The next morning, after sleeping in a little bit, they put us on a scavenger hunt and built teams for us to go through around the city of Anchorage and look for different landmarks, including tourists. So the man in the red shirt was a tourist, and we just jumped in and got a picture as part of this citywide scavenger hunt. It gave us a chance to know each other and to see the sights in Anchorage. Later that same day, we did a little street ministry, and here was one of the ladies who was working for the city and taking care of watering the many plants. I just couldn't believe how lush the things were around town, the greenery and the gardens. The flower gardens in town even had various vegetables mixed in with them, and I'm sure that as those became mature, many of the homeless people found something to eat in the gardens. One of the other folks that we met on the street was this homeless person. There was a piano right there in the city park, and this person sat down and was playing just a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. We're able to minister to them and potentially connect them with the church. So that was part of one of our many opportunities for street ministry with the homeless in Alaska. We went on to visit a place called Grow North Farm. This is a refugee resettlement project, and part of what they do at this farm is enable the refugees to have a plot of ground where they can grow vegetables of many kinds, some native to their own country. What you just saw was the little greenhouse that was part of our mission project. We doubled the size of that greenhouse while we were there. We did the majority of work in one afternoon, in a few hours. But you can see the various plots of ground that the refugees get assigned, and they work there and grow those vegetables. And then where the two peaked white tents are, they can have a farmer's market several days a week, and they sell their goods, and they get to keep their money, and they get taught the principles of business. So here is just more of the farm. It's fenced in. There's some of the team members, and now we're coming back to that greenhouse that we're going to double the size of. This next slide shows a before and at the end of the first day of working on it, or the first half day really. We had the walls up. We had taken the siding off. And we do come back in a couple of days and finish off the greenhouse. There you can see the completed greenhouse. So we literally doubled its footprint to help them out. Another part of the ministry that we did was the downtown soup kitchen called the Hope Center. This was a women's shelter primarily for homeless women. While the ladies ministered to the women, the men did some odd jobs like cleaning the carpet and cleaning showers and just helping with general cleanup. One of the things that I found fascinating here was the lush greenery on the roof of the Hope Center. This is actually above the first story, and they had these raised garden beds where they grow all kinds of uh, vegetables and leafy things and use that actually in the kitchen in the ministry. It was just, again, it was amazing to see how green everything was, but when you have 20 plus hours of sunlight per day, things can grow really fast. We spent 3 days working with a church day camp children's ministry. This was ministering to children from 5 or 6 years old up through high school, juniors and high school students. And we started every morning with breakfast and worship and lesson and did ministry. We broke them up into age-appropriate groups and ministered to them, and then we would do some outdoor activities. One day we took them to the Alaska Wilderness and Wildlife Center. This was outside of Anchorage a ways. Many of these kids had not been out of the city, and so this was an opportunity for them to get out and see animals up close and personal. There's a black bear. There were some brown or grizzly bears. The elk that were at this wildlife center, we could walk around. They were fenced in. And there was some gray wolves there. We spent several hours walking around, looking at the animals, talking with the kids about nature, and just had a great time with them. And for some of them, it was just enough to really tire them out. And this young girl was just so cute that I had to catch a picture of her taking a nap on a little break time. An additional ministry that we did, and this just shows a little bit of it, the lady in the center is the director of a women's and children's shelter for women who are coming out of abusive situations. The abuse rate tends to be high in Alaska, particularly during the winter months. But this was a shelter that would take moms and their kids in and help them get back on their feet and get out into the community, into their own place, but providing a safe place while they're in that transition. We spent about an hour and a half there. Again, while the women were ministering to the ladies in the shelter, the men were cleaning up a courtyard. Unfortunately, I didn't get a picture of that, but in an hour we generated about 30 of those big trash bags you can see in the background, just cleaning up the garden area so that they could have more of an area to move around and be outside and enjoy nature in the garden. We also had a chance to do a little sightseeing ourselves and a little shopping. I was tempted to buy this t-shirt, but I didn't. Just thought it was kind of humorous that that bear figured out pretty quick that if that hiker was a vegetarian, that bear must be a humanitarian. We went to Paradox Lake and saw the Paradox Glacier. We were actually out on a cruise boat on this glacial lake. And as we this is the main part of the glacier, we did get to see it calve a little bit, have some parts of the glacier break off. But as we were setting off of the glacier a ways in the boat, this large cruise boat, you could really feel the difference in temperature. It was literally 20 degrees colder right where the wind came down off of the glacier and down through that mountain. But I really wanted to just share this with you and thank you, Bakersville Church, for your generous contributions to my mission trip. Sorry that it was delayed, but I'm glad that I got to do it, and glad that I really got to minister, and you all sewed into that ministry for those folks in Alaska. And for that, I thank you very much.